here we go, lift off. So we're going to actually fully understand what a PPY involves, so the process, the benefits, exactly how you go about securing one, identify skills that you already have and how these would transfer to a variety of opportunities. Transferable skills are so important, and I can't tell you the amount of times that people think that a transferable skill such as communication in one role might not be useful, but we'll be talking about exactly how useful that is. So we'll be talking as well about how other opportunities that you can do at university to help enhance your employability, and also tell you about where to get support. Me and Hannah are just placements within the careers team. There's so many people in that team that got such a wealth of experience that they can help give to you. So, and we'll also be talking about next steps. So it's all well and good coming to this session, getting the information, but what are you going to do with it? What we're going to do next? So we'll be talking a little bit about that. So gonna put this one out to the floor. Gonna start off with a nice little question. So this was before COVID, probably completely different now, but can you all put your answers in the chat box or on mute? How many applications do you think there were per graduate role average before COVID? How many do you think? Was it 10, 10,000, 50? Answers in the box and Hannah will read them out.
Yeah, it'd be great to see some of your answers. I mean, 100% this would have gone up due to COVID. What Beth said, 2,000. Fab guess. Anna, somewhere in hundreds. Maddie, 500.
Ooh, yeah, wow. Don't worry, guys, not quite that many, but average of 75 applications per graduate job. And like I said, that was before COVID. Couldn't really tell you how much it's gone up, but I don't know about you, Han, but I imagine it's double that now. So what do we think we can do to sort of help us enable to get the most out of our graduate career? So doing a placement, as you can see, is a great recruitment tool for employers. 59% of grads that were hired by Rate My Placement top undergraduate employers were former interns. So big companies that are hiring interns, via Rate My Placement are looking for trusted people that they already know can do the job, can fit into the business. So what do we think is the best way to help us get a graduate job? Wow. Anything in the chat there?
Yeah, so Emily's just said work experience.
Yeah, absolutely. So getting that work experience, doing your PPY, internships, absolutely. That 59% of people who went back to their placement employer, they wouldn't have got that job if they didn't do professional placement year. They wouldn't have had that contact. So that's a hell of a lot of people who are going, from placement into that job. It just shows that if you're able to get in a placement year and really make a great impression and great connections, it can really pay off. So average salary for a PPY is 18,000 or 22,900 in London. Bet that sounds good. I know when I was a student, I wouldn't have known what to do with that money, to be honest. But it's really decent salary and a chance to get yourself a graduate job. So here we are. This is us last year. This is one of the first times we were able to meet up post lockdown, and it was lovely. This is the placements team. So like I said, we're actually quite a small arm of the Careers and Employability Service, but we all work together to support students who are looking for placements, who are on their placement year, might help them with any sort of issues they may have, and signposting them to other services. And likely if you're enrolled in the module, you're probably hearing from Ellie the most, as she's our administrator. So she's the one who would be in touch with you with any documents or forms you need, or any sort of quick questions that you might have about your placement year. But this is the team. Me and Hannah are here today, and you would see Becky as well, quite a lot as well. So we all love what we do, and that's not a lie, and we just want the best for every student who comes through our doors. So if you have a placement idea or you want to discuss something with us, we've probably heard it before, even if you think we haven't, and even if we haven't, we'll find out the answer for you. So come to us at any time. We're as smiley in real life as we are in this photo, aren't we, Han?
100%. And I just can't stop looking at my hair there. It looks really thick.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What moisturiser did you do that day?
I have no idea, but I've definitely not remembered to do that since.
It's lovely. So I'll talk to you briefly about our sort of future of our placement offering. So In the past, we've had all sorts of different things. We've had Santander graduate schemes, we've had internships, we've had placements, all this stuff that we work on. And what we wanted to do was really consolidate our offering into one package, and that's where BASPAR Works come in. And you'll be hearing a lot about this over the next few months and all the time that you're at BASPAR University engaging in careers activities. So we have placements, we have projects, we have internships, and I'll be talking to you a little bit about that. But essentially, an internship is a paid opportunity to work for a company. A project is to work collaboratively with other students on a social endeavour. And a placement is a chance to work with an organisation for a long period of time in order to gain employability skills. So it sounds, I guess it's a complicated offering because there's lots of different ways that students can get involved in work experience activity alongside their studies. But just be aware that we are sort of trying to cater to the wide range of courses that we have at BASPAR and trying to enhance employability as much as possible. So there are these different strands, and you'll be seeing this as we go along. But if any of those take your interest, now I'll be talking a little bit more soon about them, but you can always get in touch with us and we can talk about how best to utilise that experience. So professional placement year is probably the largest part of our work. Obviously, it was the most traditional thing. It's called a sandwich year or internship. It's got lots of different names. Traditionally, it was only really business students that participated in placements. However, that's changing. At BASPAR, we have PPY, as we call it, open to all courses. So if you're an artist and you want to get some experience in the art world, then you absolutely can do that. If you're a biology student and you want to work in a lab, then you can do that. If you're an artist and you want to work in a lab, you can technically do that, but you probably won't. So we're really flexible. We understand that not every student knows exactly what they're going to do, or if they're a psychology student, they're going to do a psychology placement. We keep it really flexible as the job market is. So it's a minimum of 900 hours and 30 weeks between your second and third year of study, so that makes your degree 4 years in total. You can do multiple placements throughout, and that's more common in certain sectors. So if you're an art and design student or festival and event student, you might do multiple placements in order to, particularly if they're unpaid as well, so you might do short placements in order to gain that work experience. Or if you're a business student, you might do a 15-long industrial placement. It really does depend on you, and there's a few things that we tell students to ask yourself before you think about professional placement year. You know, how long do you want to be in placement? What sort of company do you want to work for? And that will help inform whether you want to do multiple placements or not. So the placements are self-sourced, but with a lot of support from us, don't worry, that's what we're here for. And there's 2 pass or fail assessments, which are marked by a PPY tutor. So you have reduced tuition fee for that year, it's $1,850, and if you receive student finance, it's deducted in the same way. You just select placement year fees, and you're entitled to a reduced maintenance loan. There are some exceptions if you're working in a government body, so if you're working unpaid service in a school or in government or parliament or in a hospital, but most of the time you're entitled to reduced maintenance loan. So if you're undertaking unpaid placements, you need to consider that. And another thing as well, you're not allowed to participate in the professional placement year if you have 40 credits, not 40 modules, oh God, 40 credits overrunning from previous year. So bear that in mind. If anyone is in their second year at the moment or in their first year and worried that they're behind on their modules, if you want to do professional placement year, they need to all be up to date as possible. So like I said, there's a high level support before, during and after. That's provided by me, Becky and Hannah. So we speak to students about how to find placements, about how to get their CV ready. When they're on placement, we might support them with, they might be having some issues with their workplace, or, you know, for a lot of placement students, it's their first professional role. So, you know, there are some teething issues sometimes, but that's what we're here for. And most things are quite easily sorted out. We provide timetabled support. So if you're a first year now, which I hope you are, when you come back in September, if you're enrolled onto the professional placement year module, you'll be invited along to timetabled support, where we'll talk to you about CVs, cover letters, interviews, LinkedIn, all of those amazing topics, which, while not very exciting, are integral into securing a placement. But don't worry, we'll go all through that with you, don't worry. So there's some really clear benefits of a PPY. I didn't do a PPY, but I really wish I did, because there's really strong data for the fact that students who participate in placement year get higher grades and better graduate roles with higher salary. So, like I said before, employers may use it as an early recruitment tool. If 59% of interns are going back to their original employer, obviously there's something going on there. You know, employers like the whole try before you buy. They like to be able to try out a candidate before they take them on a full-time basis. And it is common, and Hannah will agree with me, I've had a few students who are going back to their placement provider or something very similar, which they wouldn't necessarily have secured without having this other experience. It's really common for people to go back there. So if you're someone, you know, who worries a lot about the future and think, oh, what am I going to do when I graduate? If you can secure your graduate role whilst you're on your PPY, you'll come back to third year and feel so relaxed and able to focus on your studies. So like I said, impact on final year performance and employability. It's not us just making it up. The facts do back that up, and that comes from our graduate outcomes data. So yeah, we haven't made it up, I promise. And it looks great on your CV. If you can have your degree with the addition of professional placement year on there, an employer can see straight away that you've got a year's experience within a professional setting and probably within the same sector as well. So instantly they're going to be more interested in interviewing you. And actually having that experience to discuss at interviews as well is really important. So I've had loads of interviews. I've been asked, oh, tell me about a time when you've worked in a team, or tell me about a time when you've worked to deadlines. And before I had work experience, I'd be like, no idea, I couldn't tell you. But obviously with my years of experience now and what everyone else will have at some point, you have loads of things to talk about. It can almost be hard to whittle it down just to one. But if you can have a bank of examples, if you like, for an interview, for a potential graduate role, it will help you so much and you'll feel so much more relaxed having actually something pre-prepared to say in an interview. Like, all interviews are different, but you know, I've been to enough myself to know that a lot of the same questions tend to come up, particularly for junior roles. So think about your teamwork examples, your communication, problem solving, those sort of basic skills. Think about your part-time roles or any placements where you've had that. So skills improvement, you know, some people, I had a geography student last year who started working at Snowdonia, and I went to see him and he was so excited because he was using a new software that the university didn't have yet, but this one did. And he was talking me all through it, amazing, and he became really proficient. I'm sorry, I can't remember what the name of the software is, but he became really proficient in that and is able to springboard now onto something else because he knew how to use that software. That's on the CV. He can move on to amazing things now. There's also a chance sometimes as well to go on courses. We have placement students who will go on like first aid course, mental health awareness course, commercial awareness course, at their role. So there is always a chance to get those extra strings to your bow for your CV. So developing networks, really important as well. It's more important in some sectors than others. Think about film and TV. That's pretty much 100% network centered. You won't find many film and TV roles advertised. It is really about who you know. So if you're able to get yourself signed up to an agency, or if you're a film and TV student, and get your name out there and get working with a lot of people in the industry, particularly in Bath, you know, we've got a lot of culture here, a lot of theatre, film, production. If you can get to know those people, then hopefully they can let you know opportunities coming up. It's also opportunity to gain industry insight. You might actually get into that career and be like, no, I don't like it, actually, it's really boring. And that actually happened to our placements manager. He won't mind us telling you this, but he really wanted to be a teacher and he had his heart set on it. He did a placement in it and was like, no, I don't want this. But that was really useful for him because he could really rule that out and then make the next step. So even if you went on a placement year and you didn't enjoy it, I've never had a placement student say to me, oh, that was a waste of time. They say, oh, I didn't enjoy it and I know that I don't want to do that, but I've learnt this, and that. But I can honestly say none of them have told me, I wish I didn't do that. I don't know if you agree, Han. You're probably going to tell me, oh, yeah, I've got a student who said they have loads of regrets.
No, even obviously last year we had students who'd been really impacted by COVID. And I remember when we were in the office, Shah, and it was, March, and, we were ringing and trying to book flights for students, and, you know, rushing to try and get them home with the pandemic. And then some students then had to obviously work remotely. But actually that cohort came out of their PPY and said, wow, what an experience. I'll get to tell an employer I managed to do this during a pandemic. So even those students wouldn't say that it was, you know, a waste of time. So it's definitely a positive.
Absolutely, you learn so much. And yeah, like Han said, particularly that cohort last year had to learn to be adaptable, flexible, you know, learning to cope with change. That's one of my weaknesses. I'm really bad with change. I've got to improve that. But we can all work on our skills, and that's exactly what professional placement year is for. So another question. So how confident do you feel at the moment about how to get started for your placement year? Does anyone feel, yeah, I know what I want to do. I'm going to contact Dad's friend. I'm going to ask them what they've got, or I'm going to apply to Warner Brothers. I'm going to apply to L'Oreal, or does anyone have no idea? Does anyone feel confident or not too confident?
I'm on the chat. Unless anyone wants to unmute, that is also lovely. Maddie said not very confident.
Yep, it's fair enough. It's not. We haven't started much yet, have we?
Beth, semi-confident. Anna probably needs some more support. Don't worry, that's why we're here.
Absolutely. Just it's not a trick question. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just interesting to know how equipped people feel to start. So a few things that you can do now to start getting started is to research roles and organizations. So if you're thinking, okay, I really want to be marketing, think about marketing agencies which you think, you know, you'd actually like to work for. Is there anything that you've seen on social media where you think, oh, I love that company, they're really sustainable, they're really eco, or they have great work policies, or they have a great website which is amazing, or they make great campaigns or films? Anything like that. Say you're a massive L'Oreal fan, I'll use that example again, but say you love their makeup, just take a note of them, because passion will always come through from somewhere you apply. If you've got that passion, they'll be able to tell. So find roles and organisations which you think you might be interested in. So get your CV ready. So quite understandably, not many people have looked at their CV much since they left school. Obviously, you just start at university and you might have a part-time role, and you might have a CV that's what's known as a chronological CV. So that's got your details, you know, your work history, contact, you know, next. When you're a placement student, it's a little bit different because you're a beginner, you know, but you're breaking into the professional world, and you're searching for these roles and trying to show how your transferable skills will make you that great person. So we talk a lot in the timetable support about how to do a skills-based CV, which tend to be the best match for placement students. But for now, you can start thinking about, okay, what does this CV say about me? You know, does everything on my CV add value? You know, I did this before, so I'm not judging, but sometimes it can be tempting just to include everything as possible. I remember I said I was a really good chess player on mine. Wasn't, but I just wanted to fill it up, you know. So think, what is on your CV? We all do it, you know. I've seen things on CV like saying really like talking to people and things like that, which is great, but think, does it add value to the CV? So try and get those little bits off your CV which, you know, don't really need to be there. We're trying to think what puts us in the best light. So gaining additional experience is also good, particularly if you have little to no experience. So volunteering is a really great way to help get that experience when perhaps the professional experience is lacking. So think about your hard to reach sectors, you know, working in arts or creative, you know, film, getting some volunteering experience in any capacity. It shows a real willingness to develop yourself, you know, to work, you know, on a voluntary basis isn't easy. You know, you have to be quite a self-motivated person to do that. But if you can show that you have voluntary experience and also just part-time work as well. So if you're working in a cafe or a shop or a bar, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You know, all work experience is experience, and you'll be getting skills from that as well. Customer services, working under pressure, all those basic skills we talk about. So try and have a mixture of volunteering and part-time work to all help. and get support. So you, as if you're a first year, which I think you all are today, you're now able to book one-to-ones with us. So if any of you think, oh, I'd really want to chat to Charlotte again, feel free to book in with me and we can talk about your options. I've seen a few first years recently and it's been absolutely lovely. You know, we spoke a lot about the future, you know, what they can do this summer to help them in September, because believe me, once you get back in September and get back in the swing of things, time will go so fast and you'll be like, oh my God, no, I need to do my placement stuff. So anything you can do this summer is going to really help, believe me. So, like I said, researching roles is the best thing you can do. And we're going to talk a little bit more about how we can do that. So look at all these amazing places. And I can tell you what, this list has grown. We haven't updated it because we've got a few more to come on there. But this is just a few examples of previous places where placement students have worked. So, and there's more. We've just put the sort of main bigger brands on there, but there's so many small businesses that people work for as well, which have, you know, so much value. But if any of these companies interest you and you think, oh, actually, I'd love to work at Intel, research the company. And the fact that there was a previous placement student there as well shows that it can be done. So any of those companies anyone's interested in, get researching, really. I'm very interested in Thatcher's, obviously. So I'm still not sure about the answer for this for myself, but does anyone know what they want to do after they graduate? Does anyone already know, or does no one have a clue? I'd be interested.
After this year, no doubt, go on a long holiday.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, wow. Bethany said educational psychologist. Maddie, a bit like me and you, Shah, no idea. Totally fair enough. Emily, PGCE, so this all sounds cool. And
oh, nice.
Anna, not sure yet, something with interior design. So all fab.
Lovely. Brilliant. So you've got some ideas then, which is brilliant. But yeah, it's not easy. And honestly, your mind can change quite a lot. But like I said, even if you don't know, find out what you do or don't want to do, particularly what you don't want to do, because you don't want to think, okay, I really want to, let me think of an example that we haven't said. I really want to go into business analytics. There you go. There's an example we haven't used. Could have thought of something a little bit more normal than that. But say you think, oh, I really want to go into business analytics. Mum did it, dad did it, sister did it, love it. But if you do it on your placement year and you don't like it, then that's brilliant, you know, because you can just put that to bed and get the experience. But if you invest in a graduate career, really trying to secure that job when you're not happy, then it's going to be harder to unpeel that and be like, okay, I'm going to find a new role now. So really just help doing a placement, just to help inform that, really, because sometimes, honestly, some students, like I speak to them at first, they're like, yeah, I really want to work for IBM in a big corporation, really want to work with lots of people. They end up working in a small company and it might not be what they wanted, but it's what they needed, and they learned a lot from that. So don't close the door to anything. Always be open to new opportunities, and you never know what might spark your interest. So obviously doing multiple placements as well can really inform that. You might be able to, if you're lucky and you're a business graduate, if you're a placement student, if you're able to find multiple placements, and that might, you know, because business is such a broad area, that might help you to really understand what part of business you want to work in and what sort of role you're interested in. So if you're really unsure and nothing I've said has helped you to even think about what you want to do and you're just really not sure, I would 100% recommend you booking a 20-minute careers advice appointment. So Hannah and I are placements, but we do have colleagues who focus mainly just on careers advice. You know, what do they want to do? What skills do they already have? What sort of can they do with what they've got? You know, just anything they can help you with. And if they're not able to help you, they will refer you to our careers consultants who are even more trained in being able to help people understand how their skills and experience can be useful in the future. So always book an appointment with us. Like I said, we've not heard it all before, but nothing really will shock us. So come and see us. So casting your net wide, guys. So what role is anyone thinking of for their PPY? Does anyone think, oh, I really want to be a business analytics intern now Charlotte said that? But has anyone got any ideas? Obviously, doing a PGC, I imagine I'm sorry, I'm not sure who said that, but whoever said they wanted to do the PGCE, maybe you'd like to work at a school as a learning support assistant or in a charity or something like that. Any ideas?
Well, none through yet on the chat. I reckon everyone's having a think about what to do. Oh, lovely. Beth, who's looking to be an educational psychologist when she graduates, said teaching assistant, which would be a really good idea.
Brilliant. Yeah, brilliant. So many transferable skills in that as well. Such a springboard job as well.
Maddie, again, same again, not sure. But honestly, Maddie, please don't worry about that. That is what we're here for.
Absolutely.
And Anna, working for an interior design company. So yeah, that would be awesome. Even if it was, you know, a design intern, that is how you make that first step. Yeah,
be fantastic. And for you, Maddie, you know, this summer, if you can, get in touch with some interior designers, say, because that is what's known as a hard to reach sector, which I'm sure you're aware of, and there's not a massive amount of placement roles there. However, get in touch with an interior designer. I'd be like, can I work with you for a couple of days? I know there's a few in Bath, and obviously I'm not sure where you're based, but if you're in Bath area, there's definitely a few. So, oh, wow, it's exciting. I love interior design. No good at it though. Cool. So, if you're thinking about a role, this is an example. So this is an example that we hear a lot. So a lot of psychology students like to be a clinical psychologist. It's quite a natural career progression for people, you know, doing those modules, and then you obviously keep studying and look to, you know, be a professional within that field. Unfortunately, it's one of those hard to reach. Again, not many paid roles within that sector, and particularly because of the pandemic last year, just less opportunities to shadow people. But if you were thinking of that, you need to think about, okay, what sort of skills do I actually need to be able to work within that setting? So being empathy, person-centered, communication, teamwork, challenging situations. And those skills can come from a lot of different places. So communication, again, is one of those real wide skills that can come from loads of places. It can come from part-time roles, it can come from university, it can come from volunteering, all sorts of things. Teamwork is the same, you know, bar jobs, hospitality, waitressing, that sort of thing. Challenging situations as well, that's something a learning support assistant could gain. Again, that's why I said it's one of those springboard jobs that can help you just get that experience, or working as a support worker as well. We have students who want to take that sort of work in order to be able to springboard themselves onto a clinical psychologist role, or, you know, a psychologist within another field. So where else could you get those skills? So educational setting with challenging young people. So again, learning support assistant, charity and mental health support, or volunteer for the Red Cross. So we've had students as well volunteer for Barnardos and Samaritans in order to get that experience. You know, with a placement, it doesn't have to be what you want to do. Think, okay, what am I going to get from this? Again, casting your net wide, getting all those, netting in all those experience and all those skills as much as possible. But yeah, I guess what we're trying to, the point we're trying to make with this slide is, you know, think about the skills rather than the career at this point, you know, because even if you wanted to be a clinical psychologist, a few things could happen in your life down the line, which means you don't go down that path. But think about the skills that you could get. Oh, there it is. Couldn't find it then. So a good way to research roles is to look on Prospects. Me and Han use Prospects all the time. It's a really good, like, online careers directory. So they've got a what can I do with my degree section. So if you put in business and management, it would have a list of roles which will closely match your degree. And it will also give you a list of roles which aren't a direct match, but are sort of, you know, to the side. So other things which could be a business degree could be useful. And that's the same for biology, art, all of the roles. And also they have a lot of job profiles on there and the necessary skills you need. I use that website all the time. It's brilliant, honestly. It really gives a real clear understanding about what's expected per sector. So definitely recommend having a look at that. So Rate My Placement's another really good one, another one we use all the time. It's definitely more student-centered, that one. So they have a lot of student contributors and lots of student testimonials about what it's like to work at different organisations. Tends to have, you know, mainly the big companies on there. Think of your, your Intel and Rolls-Royce and stuff like that. But there is sometimes smaller companies on there, and there would be always good advice on there. If you're not sure about a placement or whether it's right for you, there's always some good helpful links on there. And sector guides. So we have lots of lovely materials on our website. Our careers consultants have worked hard to make sector guides. So for business, art, design, all of those, we have a guide which will sort of go through sort of what it's like to work in there, lots of handy links, sort of ways to get experience, ways to get volunteering experience, etc. And they're available on our website, but we always pretty much out, so if you're not sure. But if you just typed in industry sector guides on our website, they come up straight away, because that's what I do. And there's also, this one's a bit of a sad one at the moment, because we unfortunately haven't been able to have any students go internationally this year for the obvious reasons, but we do have a really good guide to working abroad. So for you guys, we really hope that students will be able to go internationally. We don't have confirmation yet for obvious reasons, but if if your dream is to go abroad, then definitely have a look at our guide, and we can hopefully make that happen for you. So there's a few different places that you can find placements. I also always think the first place to start is MyCareer. So that's you all know where MyCareer is because you booked the session on here, but we post really up-to-date placements on there. A lot of organisations will come through us to advertise with us, particularly local organisations as well will advertise exclusively on our portal, I think because it's free, but also because it has a lot reach of students. So always start with MyCareer. Useful website, so there's a lot on there. If you go onto prospects, rate my placements, all of those ones have a lot on there as well. The sector guides as well, so we have, like I said, the sections where it's lots of volunteering opportunities or ways to get skills and to get involved. Social media is a really good one. A lot of companies advertise exclusively on LinkedIn, so if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, get one, because it's just a great way to find jobs. I never had a LinkedIn profile before I worked in this role, and I wish I'd had one before, because honestly you see so much on there, not just roles, but there might be a company will be talking about a course or a free webinar or all sorts of cool stuff on there that you can get involved in. It's like a social media for work, which sounds boring, but honestly it's so useful. Personal connections as well is a lot of people, they kind of tell me quite later down the line that they have a personal connection. I'll be talking to a student and they'll be like, oh, I've got an auntie who works in blah blah, and I'd be like, what? Ask them. Because even if you ask someone for experience, most of the time they're quite flattered. They're like, oh, they've come to me. But also, even if they can't help you, they might know someone who can. They might say, oh no, we don't take anyone here at Barnardos, however you should try over there, they might be able to help you. So any information is going to be helpful at this point. And networking as well. So we used to run quite a lot of networking events before the pandemic. We'd have business buses and chance for employers to come on campus, called Employer in the Foyer. So we'd have the police, what was their name, Mitten Williams marketing agency. So we'd have lots of different people come down, and obviously we hope that sort of thing will resume when we come back. But I know it's not really natural thing to do, but just having a chat to people, whilst at these events can lead to all sorts of things. You can't believe it, honestly. So like I said, MyCareer, one-stop shop for placements. Filter for student placements, internships and part-time jobs, and you'll see a lot of roles will come up here. Most of the roles tend to come through of September to February-ish, but there's always new ones coming on. Not always professional placement years, sometimes it will just be a summer internship or a short-term internship, fixed-term contract, all sorts of stuff on there, but definitely the best place to start. And here's a few more useful websites. I want you to all write these down now. I'm only joking, we're going to send the slides. But like I said, Prospects, MyCareer, Rate My Placements, they're the free ones that, sort of going to be your bread and butter, your main things going on. But there's some other websites here which are really good for certain type of sectors. So Guardian Jobs has a lot of, the big internships on there, your BMW, things like that. And Google Careers as well, they have quite a few things on there. It tends to be more international on there. But yeah, loads of different sites that you can go on. Indeed as well, I'm sure you've all looked for, you know, part-time jobs on there. However, they do advertise placements and maternity cover on there, all things which can be considered placements. So always look on there as well. And it's slightly different for the creator sector. So if you're a creative student, which I don't think we have any here today, but here's a few more websites as well which are useful. Again, like I said, with this sector it tends to be who you know, so if you can get yourself on these dashboards, and like the talent agency, you know, for working sort of in and around Bristol and Bath area. There was a student recently who went on a talent agency and is now working on the Bridgerton set. I was very jealous, but she just got herself signed up, put a headshot on there, said I want to be a runner, and she's off doing that now. So again, just got to get your name out there if you're a creative student a little bit more than if you're not. So sector guides, here they are. As I said, you can just type in industry sector guides and they've all come here. We have charities, design, education, history, human rights, law, all sorts on there. And we do update these regularly as well. So every year they're sort of updated with more relevant websites. So should all be up to date and ready to go. As you can see, there's a section on these sector guides which sort of really breaks down about the sort of jobs and the websites to look for. So definitely have a look through it just to make it like familiar to yourself. So if you are looking for a media placement, get on the media sector guides and be like, okay, you know, even save it to your bookmark so you know it's always there and you can make sure you're going for the right websites. Because what you don't want, and we do have this sometimes, is that there are scammers out there, you know, who try to get money from students for internships, and you know, they can be a bit dodgy sometimes. So if you're going through any websites which aren't on here, always let us know before you pay any money down or anything, because it is a growing problem. But yeah, make sure to have a good look. So like I said, social media is so important. So get a LinkedIn profile. Follow organisations that you're interested in so you can make sure that you're up to date with all their news and any relevant job roles. If you are applying for a role, then we always advise people to look at them on social media. So if you think, okay, I really want to work for Disney, let's see what social medias, you know, what's going on there. What are they working on at the moment? Have they got any new releases? You know, obviously things are released on social media first. So you could say, oh, I loved your campaign on LinkedIn about blah blah, you know. So keeping up to date with what they're up to is really important. So follow those organizations, connect with people you're interested in. It might be someone who you might see them on LinkedIn. I've had this before. I'm like, oh god, they've got a dream career, how did they do that? You know, nothing wrong with dropping them a message and saying, hi, I saw your LinkedIn profile, I think it's really impressive, can you tell me sort of any advice or any experience that you got which was helpful? So also as well, that organizations can contact you. So if you're on there, they might see you and think, oh, I really want to hire them, and they've got lots of experience and a really great LinkedIn profile. And like I said, there's a lot of job roles on there, some of them exclusively on LinkedIn, so don't want to miss out on that. So again, personal connections. So family and friends, really important. Might be a friend of a friend, might be a uni friend, might be someone you barely know, but just ask them. Just say, if you don't ask, you don't get, you know. So just say anything available, even just a bit of shadowing, a bit of, you know, work experience, anything like that. Academics are really good as well, particularly again if you're in a hard to reach sector. They tend to have a lot of industry knowledge and connections as well. So for the interior designing lecturer, definitely ask, I can't remember their name, I feel terrible, but definitely ask them if they know anyone, because likely they do. So even if they just said, oh yeah, blah blah has taken on an intern before, brilliant, you can get in touch with them and see, you know, what they'd possibly be offering. So past PPY students, so we have obviously a lot of people who've gone to lots of places. I showed you that picture earlier of all the amazing brands. If you think, oh, I really want to work at Warner Brothers, you could get in touch with them, you know, and say, obviously you'd need to ask us first and we'd ask them. But we have had students do this before, sort of, hey, what's it like to work there? What's the interview process like? You know, all questions that, you know, I can't answer because I wasn't there. I didn't go for a placement there. But that placement student could certainly answer, you know, things about what's the culture like, you know, what's the male to female split, just all those sort of things which you might be interested to know. And we also have our placement ambassadors as well. So we have 5 of them, and they sort of support us on events, and they tend to be able to give some really good knowledge as well. So past employers, did you once work for EE and hated it, but actually they do a management scheme that could be good for your PPY? Get in touch with them, say, hey, I really like working here, even if you didn't, and say that really want to get some experience. Is there anything available? So the careers team, me and Han and many others, like I said, so much experience within that team. Startup, CVs, cover letters, everything, business, academia, PGCs, postgraduate, everything that we can cover. And if we don't know, we'll find out. So Workfest, which we're all here today, woo! It's brilliant actually, because we have 2 weeks of industry focused event, all sort of designed based on students' feedback in the past, so what you guys want and what you need. So we'll be running these. We do 3 lots of Workfest throughout the year, so we sort of have an autumn, spring and summer one. So always keep a lookout for updates about what's going on. We also have an amazing scheme called Mentor Me. I'm saying it's amazing because Hannah loved it, who's on the call, so going to be very nice about it. But this is basically an amazing scheme which matches students with industry mentors. So if you think, oh, I'd like to work in interior design, maybe Hannah's got a mentor who'd be able to help you. It's really good to be able to get advice again from someone in that sector, because I could advise about placements, but I haven't worked in that sector. So getting that insight knowledge is brilliant. I don't know, Hannah, if you want to add anything else about Mentor Me, because
no, that's brilliant, Shah. To be honest, the scheme is open to 2nd and 3rd years, but seeing as you guys are so close to 2nd year, feel free to apply. So if you went on our Careers and Employability webpage, that we reference a lot in this PowerPoint, you'll see the little Mentor Me section, and then you can apply online. Equally, if not, I can pop the link in the chat box now. So I will do that. Actually, it makes more sense.
That's brilliant, thanks, Han. And I expect all 4 of you to sign up. I'm joking. So I'll be checking. So we've got the Bar Spa Award as well, which is brilliant. It runs alongside your courses really, so it's sort of split into 3. It's the Bar Spa Award and the Leadership Award. And this is extracurricular activity that students do alongside their degree. So it'll be again about networking, employability skills, applying for roles. That's another really good one for the CV. Employers like it when people participate in extracurricular activity, and particularly when it's enhancing employability skills. So I'd very much recommend getting involved in that. So sometimes, and I get this a lot, students will go, okay, Charlotte, you've told me where to look, but there's nothing there. So what do we say with that? So again, make a list of organisations to contact that you think, oh, I actually really like to work there. I think they're really interesting. Get a named contact. So if you think, okay, really want to work at, let's think, Mitten Williams, you might go onto Mitten Williams' website or onto their LinkedIn profile, and you'll find, okay, who's head of HR recruitment at Mitten Williams? Let's ask them. So say their name's Hannah. So you would find their contact, and any sort of emails or address to them, you make sure it says, hello, Hannah. If you put to whom it may concern, there's nothing really wrong with that, but what happens is it just gets lost. And I've received emails like that before. If it's not addressed to me, I won't look at it because I assume someone else is going to look at it. So if possible, find a name contact, because then that's a call to action for them to reply. And also as well, so be clear in your cover letter what you're asking for. Are you looking for a 15-month placement? Are you looking for a 1-month placement? You might just be looking for anything, but if you give the employer clear parameters about what you're looking for, but also add that you can be flexible, and that helps them make a clear decision based on what you've said. And also say that you're going to follow up afterwards. So say at the end of the email, perhaps, thank you for taking the time to read my speculative application. I will be following this up with an email. So Hannah also does a speculative application workshop regularly, which I would really suggest going to, because the speculative approach, actually finding these roles for yourself rather than seeing them advertised, is more and more common. I've had to support more and more students doing that this year, going through that way, because the roles just weren't there. It doesn't mean they don't exist. They're just not posted online. Sometimes I have a student actually recently, she just emailed me before I got on here, and she saw that this particular marketing agency had posted on their website that they were really short-staffed and they were struggling and they were going to get back to people soon. So I said, maybe they're short-staffed and they need someone. So she's contacted them, basically saying, hi, I noticed on your website it's short-staffed. I'd love to be able to help. I've got this, and that skill. And they are going to be having a chat with her next week. So they're probably like, oh, brilliant. Someone's come through saying they want to help us. So finding that need and identifying that need is really key into securing a speculative role. It can be time consuming and it can be disheartening if you don't hear anything, but it can really pay off. You can really find that role almost tailored to you in some ways. So it's definitely worth considering, but it does intimidate people a bit, and I understand why. So before we even approach anyone, we need to get our CV ready, obviously. So like I said, advertised and speculative applications. So either way, even if you're going for an advertised role, you're applying speculatively, 100% you're going to need a CV. So like I mentioned briefly before, a lot of students come through with a chronological CV, and that's brilliant 10 years down the line when you've got lots of demonstrated experience within that sector, because you want to show that off and make the natural progression to the next step. But placement students are beginners, they don't have stacks of experience, so they have to do what's known, as I said, as a skills-based CV. So this example one from Claire Tasker here, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it looks pretty much like a normal CV, but there's one main difference in it, and that is that there's not a work experience section that you can see there. So obviously of her education, skills and work experience, of those three things, what do you think is going to be strongest at her stage in her career? It's going to be her education, isn't it? Because she's a placement student, she's got education, she's on her way there. What's the next one? It's not going to be her work experience, because you can't see this, but on the other side, her work experience is not relevant to a marketing job that she wants to go for. So the next one is her skills. She's got a lot of transferable skills. She's got teamwork, she's got commercial awareness, writing and editing, all skills which can be useful in a variety of careers. So Claire has really balanced her CV in order to show the best thing first. So education's the best, then her skills, work experience last. But 10 years down the line, Claire Tasker will be starting her CV with her work experience, because she wants to show, I've got this is what I can do, what can I do next? This other CVs on here is what's known as a creative CV. These ones always scare me because I'll hold my hands up, not a creative person in the slightest, so I just couldn't produce anything like this. But when they look good, they look really good. I've seen some before that have just been absolutely amazing. So if you're someone who's a bit creative and you want to lay your CV out in a different way, or you want to demonstrate your portfolio or anything like that, then these CVs are the way to go. But sometimes just identifying what sort of CV you need is the hardest bit. But either way, no matter where you go or what you do, you're going to need one. So what skills are employers looking for? We have asked them this before. And this is the main skills which employers are looking for. So does anyone look at that list and think, don't have any of those? Or does anyone think, yeah, actually have quite a few? Because I bet you do. A lot of them, like I said before, transferable skills are available with a lot of different in a lot of different sectors. So think about these skills and what ones you have already, and whether you think there's any roles which you can get where you'd be able to obtain these skills. So looking at these two job adverts, I mean, is there anything that interesting about these two different placement adverts? Obviously, there's a marketing and business placement role, and there's a creative campaigns and production role. So two very different roles, you know, one's marketing, one's within the creative and production sector. But I don't know, answers in the chat or on mute, but can anyone think, what's interesting about this? Maybe interesting is the wrong word.
No comments, ATM.
Okay, well, obviously there was nothing interesting, but
Yeah, that's what it was.
Here we go. Look at these skills. Under pressure, project management.
Underneath where they need to be.
They are a bit off, but hopefully on this communicate one you can see. And there it is again. So on the left-hand side, we've got excellent communication skills. On the right-hand side, ability to communicate with people at all levels. So that's essentially the same skill for two very different type of roles, isn't it? Ability to learn quickly, attention to detail, able to prioritize, and then prioritise somewhere else as well. Solution orientated, MS Office skills, which a lot of people have. I don't, but a lot of people do. You know, a lot of transferable skills which are available on here. You know, the point is a lot of the roles that you'll see, you know, at a junior placement level are looking for these skills. You know, they're looking for people that have these transferable skills. They're not necessarily looking for something very specific. They want people to be able to communicate, to be able to cope with pressure, all these sort of things. And those sort of skills you learn in your part-time roles, to be honest. I most certainly did. I worked in a restaurant. I was their manuel. I didn't know what I was doing, but I learned how to adapt, you know, and how to cope with that pressure. But it wasn't easy. But those skills you're able to springboard into your next career. So just bear in mind that although these are really different, they're actually looking for a really similar thing. So where's everyone already got their skills from? So I won't keep making you guys answer questions, don't worry. But this is sort of the main areas where people at this stage in their career get their skills. So obviously from your degree, you know, don't underestimate about how many skills you learn from that. Use prospects to write down the skills that you think you have. So say if you're an education studies student, which I think we have here, you know, you'll be talking a lot about, you know, teamwork, working with challenging children, challenging people, you know, being able to work under pressure, those sort of skills which you're going to get from there. So definitely have a look on prospects about what you're getting from your degree. And also think, okay, if you have a part-time job, what are you getting from your part-time job as well? If you had told me 15 years ago when I was working in a restaurant, you're getting skills, Charlotte, I would have been like, no, I'm not, I'm just getting stressed. But you really are learning so much by doing those roles. So have a look at the National Careers website to write down the skills you have from a part-time job. You know, they could be the same in each one. You might get loads of communication skills from all of them, customer service, teamwork. You might be writing them all down at the same time, but it means you're building on those skills and they're going to be really strong. So other places, volunteering, sports, society, sixth form work experience. So like I said, volunteering is brilliant, particularly if you want to work like in a charity or something like that, because they're crying out for people, so you'll be able to find something. Sport can be really good. Obviously, teamwork can be demonstrated on there. It's not always relevant. So again, I'll have students ask me, oh, do you think I should put the fact I'm in a lacrosse team on? And I say, will it add value? You know, think about that. So they might say, oh, they might be going for a learning support assistant role, and they've been required maybe in their lacrosse team to work with younger people. So I'll be like, it's relevant because you'll be conversing with younger people and, you know, teaching them the value of teamwork. So then that is relevant. If they were going for a business analytics job, it's not relevant because it doesn't add any value to that. So think about with sport, is just if it adds value. You know, if you have to cross something on your CV, it doesn't mean it's rubbish. It just means it's not relevant right now. Societies are good as well. I was in the historical society when I was a student. I was the treasurer, which meant I used to beg the youth pretty much, and we used to sometimes get it. However, that's a really good one to put on your CV because it shows that, you know, you're getting involved in extracurricular and that you're really interested in the subject and you're networking with academics and other students as well. Sixth form work experience, you know, sometimes it can be a little bit too far away to count. However, again, ask yourself, does it add value? So it really depends what it is, but the main part of your skills is going to come from your part-time job and your degree. So the importance of transferable skills. So 86% of employers don't recruit by discipline. So what that means is, you know, they're not going to have their heart set on a history student or biology student or something like that. They're looking for skills. They're not looking for a set discipline. They want those transferable skills. So many of the skills employers want are needed in all types of jobs. Think of, keep saying it, but communication, teamwork, customer services, you know, all roles will want people to have an element of that to some degree. So it looks great on your CV. The more transferable skills you can have, the better. Think about all the ones that you can get and really strengthen them. And again, you're going to feel more confident in an interview if you've got something to say. I don't know if anyone's been to an interview before when they really had nothing to say, but I can tell you it's really awkward and doesn't make you feel very good. So if you have a lot of things already to say, then it's already going to be better. So employers prefer applicants who are willing to learn new skills. Absolutely. You don't want to employ someone that's like, oh, it's too hard, I don't want to do it. You know, you want to employ someone that wants to learn. So even if you feel that you come short in something, maybe you might think, oh, my copywriting skills aren't amazing. It's okay to say that. It's okay to say that you want to develop that skill, because it shows that you acknowledge your weakness and want to change that. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. We're all learning new skills all the time. So lots of support with your CV. I'm the first to admit that it's a tough topic. It is hard to get your teeth into, but once you're in there, you'll be so quick at adapting and chopping and changing your CV as necessary. So firstly, get onto a CV workshop, book onto one on MyCareer. We've also got to how to tailor a CV, one of our amazing animations. Our CV guide with the example CVs is really useful to think about layout and language used. And also, if we have a fantastic CV review service on MyCareer, it's called Ask a Question. You can get your CV and cover letter submitted, and within 7 days we'll get back to you with some detailed feedback. And like I said, the 20-minute careers advice appointments are brilliant, and you can have as many of those as you want. If you want to have 100 appointments throughout the time, you certainly can. So, other opportunities available. So bus bar internships, this is a project that I worked on and absolutely love it. So roles went live in March, and we've had, so far this year, we've placed 29 students in local organisations, mainly charities, but yeah, some non-charities as well. So we've worked with National Trust, we've worked with Fairfield House, we've worked with TG Consulting, we've worked with the RUH, we've worked with the University of Bath, we've worked with the China Bureau, we've worked with Bundlebean, all sorts of places, and we have so many live roles still online now. So if anyone's looking for experience that, you know, that is sort of low risk, if you like, these roles are 50 to 50 hours, fully paid, you know, being remote work with a local organisation, and all the organisations that we have working with us are absolutely lovely and absolutely understand the importance of supporting students through these internships in order for them to be able to develop their skills. So if anyone thinks, oh, I'd love to do a 30 to 50 hour internship, go on to MyCareer and look at our Bus Bar Works internships. We've got, I think, 10 live roles there at the moment. One of them, which I really want to fill, is working at Valley Fest. So Valley Fest is a local festival, and they're looking for people with no experience. They don't mind. They're like, we'll have anyone as long as they've got the right attitude. So if you think, oh, I don't have much work experience, actually, those sort of roles are great ones to start. Projects is a slightly newer strand of what we're doing, but it very much fits within the university's goals. So Bath Spa University wants to be a civic university, which means we have a big say and big input into the locals' environmental and socially led initiatives within the area. So we want students to be able to work on their employability skills, but through also making a difference and doing work which will add value to other people's lives. So these projects are fairly new. Hannah and I have worked on them, and we've worked with Fairfield House, Share and Repair, Musica as well, which is my favourite charity, to be honest. It helps people with dementia sort of be able to remember things through music, which I think is absolutely wonderful. So if you think, oh, I'd like to make a bit of a difference and earn some money, have a look out for these projects, because they're going to be live the next academic, you know, this sort of September, October. We'll be doing lots of promotion, but definitely get involved if you'd like to do some collaborative working. Again, you'll be making a difference, but you'll also be learning skills and getting paid. It's absolutely win-win. I'm starting to lose my voice, guys. Sorry, it's getting really husky. So yeah, I'm sort of talking through all of these really. But yeah, these are the ways at Bath Spa University that you can get experience. So professional placement year out to really learn and develop those really long skills. You can do a Bath Spa Works internship, so they're either 30 hours to 10 weeks. They're sort of shorter experiences within a local organisation, perhaps working on a marketing strategy or a business strategy, or developing content for a charity, that sort of thing. And I've spoken about projects as well. Part-time jobs and volunteering, again, really useful. We have the open module as well, which is in your second semester of your second year. If you're not too keen on doing professional placement year, it's a sort of the second choice really for people. It's like up to 5 days of work experience to do then. We have the Erasmus traineeships, which are opportunities for students to undertake placements within an EU country and be funded up to €400 per calendar month for that, if you qualify. And we have placements awards. So if you're thinking of doing a low paid or unpaid placement and you're struggling a little bit for money, subject to certain criteria, you'll be able to apply for up to £300 towards that. So there's lots of different ways we support you. But if you're looking at this and think, oh, actually, I need something more specific, just get in touch with us and we can talk about the ways that we can support you. So, placement team, so you can email placements at or visit our websites, or you can email me if you want. I'm Charlotte Marshall. I'm always happy to receive an email from anyone. It makes it sound like I never get any and I've got no friends, but always happy to hear if you've got any sort of, questions or you want to chat anything through, it's no problem. You'll all be starting your pathway in second year, so that's a really good way to sort of check your progress, make sure you come into the workshops, make sure you come into the one-to-ones, timetable support. And we also have a Q&A every Tuesday, 3 till 5, that one of us will be in. You can just drop in. Might be, I've had it before when the students just come in like, oh, how long's the placement year? And then a student might come in and I end up doing a one-to-one with them. So if you ever got a quick question, you want to pop in, come in and say hi. So the wider careers team, I've sort of touched on it a bit, but they can do 20 or 40-minute appointments. They can feed you back with your CVs and cover letters. They could do mock interviews with you as well. So if you think, oh, I can write a good application, but I'm rubbish at interviews, like me, then definitely book in for a mock interview because it can really help break down that unknown. And we have stacks of online resources. And when we're back on campus, hopefully this September, we have a lovely career space in main house. So you can drop into us anytime and one of us will be there to direct you to the right level of support. So next step, like I said, research roles, which ones you really like, which ones you don't like. Find out what sort of company you want to work in. Is it a big company or do you want to do a sort of small little business? Have a think about it. Get your CV ready, think about the volunteering experience that you've got and think about what things would add value to your CV. And like I said, book a one-to-one with Hannah or I or Becky. If they're open to first years now,